Hello and a very warm welcome to my dear students in today's class. I am Pooja Dwivedi. In this class, we will not only know about the news that is of significance from the perspective of your examination, but also how to tackle questions that UPSC is creating and making it to be trickier day by day. Before I begin, I would like to tell you about a course that we are launching, that is P2I course, Prelims to Interview course. From 19th of June onwards, this will be a completely in English batch. You can avail the offer because, of course, everything is included. Out-of-pocket expenditure is nothing once you enroll in the series. Everything, I mean mentorship, study material, even a mains residential program for those who qualify Prelims 2024 is available at just rupees 60,000. But if you use the code PDLIVE, you can get it for 29,999 only. From 19th of June, the batch is starting. Do visit the website for more information. So, as I told you, the fresh news I bring to you. And first question is with respect to India-US trade relations. First, we will talk about that. Consider the following statements with respect to India-USA trade relations. Imports from the USA to India has increased, but exports have declined. That means we are purchasing more from the USA, but as compared to the last year, we are not selling more. This is what it is saying. Then, imports from the US include petroleum, rough diamonds, liquefied natural gas, gold, among others. So these kind of questions could well come in your prelims examination. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? I could add one more statement and ask you how many ones. So you have to be very clear with your concepts. You cannot just now rely on superficial reading. You have to go in more depth. So imports from the USA to India has increased. That is correct. Exports have also increased, but if we compare it to the imports, it is lesser. We are not selling USA as much as we are getting from the USA. Okay, so you have to keep in mind that. Then imports from the USA, yes, they do include petroleum, rough diamonds, liquefied natural gas, gold, among others. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? First statement is not correct, second is correct, 2 only will be the correct answer. Now, if we move on to the explanation part, why have I asked you this question? I have asked you this question because as according to a US official, economic interests, economic relations of India and USA are at the core of the entire relationship. The US has emerged as India's biggest trading partner in the year 2022-23. Bilateral trade has grown by 7.65% as against that was 119.5 billion in 2021-22. So in 2021-2022, the bilateral trade was worth this, but now it is worth $128.55 billion, which is an increase of 7.65%. And it was just $80.51 billion in 2021. Exports to the USA rose by 2.81%, and that if we compare it, the two amounts, it was 76.18 billion in 2021-22. Now it is 78.31 billion. So this is the comparison. Imports grew by about 16%. So we are importing more, okay, and exporting less. If we compare these two figures, the percentage figures. All right, remember that. Also, if we talk about the other aspects of the relationship, if we talk about China's relationship with India on the aspects of trade, the two-way commerce with China has declined by about 1.5%, and exports to China have also dipped. But imports have increased. This could be a tricky prelims question. We are importing more from China, but we are not exporting more to China. And that is not good. We are not getting a market access in China, while China is exploiting our market. In 2022-23, India had a trade surplus with the USA of $28 billion. Remember that. Moving ahead to the other aspects, if we talk about the aspect of trade, major export item from India from the USA to the USA, not from, to the USA include petroleum, polished diamonds, pharmaceutical products, jewelry, light oils and petroleum, frozen shrimp and made-ups, that means manufactured goods. Major imports, what we get from the USA? Petroleum, rough diamond. Remember, we are getting rough diamonds from the USA, but we are sending them polished diamonds. Liquefied natural gas, coal, gold, waste, scrape and almonds as well. Alright, so this could give you a big question for preliminary examination. Keep in mind. Consider the following statements with respect to UNESCO. It was created after the aftermath of World War I. UNESCO is headquartered in Vienna and the United States joined UNESCO as a founding member but withdrew in 1984 due to policy divergences. So we have to keep in mind that we know about such history and historical facts about recent occurrence. So US is set to join the UNESCO once again. That is why I ask you this question. And if we talk about the first, second and third statement, let's see which ones are correct. Actually, UNESCO was created after the aftermath of World War II. In 1945, this was created. So that makes the first statement to be incorrect. UNESCO is headquartered in Paris and not Vienna. Okay. And the United States, yes, it withdrew from the UNESCO in 1984 due to policy divergences. Their foreign policy wasn't the same. It rejoined in 2003, but again, it withdrew in 2017. Now it is again joining. So this is what we have to remember. First is incorrect. Second is also incorrect. Only the third statement is correct. That makes one statement only to be the correct answer. Alright, so one statement only is the correct answer over here. Moving on to the next chapter of this particular segment. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization was established on 16 November 1945. UNESCO has 195 members and 8 associate members. It is governed by what? It is governed by the General Conference and the Executive Board. The Secretariat is headed by the Director General who implements the policies. Alright, the headquarters are in Paris, and what are its objectives? To contribute to peace, culture of peace. Eradication of poverty also is one of its objectives. Also sustainable development and intercultural dialogue through education. All these are the objectives. Other than this, other important points are that the US joined UNESCO as a founding member, withdrew in 1984 because of the growing disparity between UNESCO and US foreign policy. After almost a 20-year hiatus, it rejoined in 2003. But it again withdrew in 2017. Why? Because in 2011, UNESCO invited and admitted Palestine as a member state. USA as well as Israel, they both are allies and do not recognize Palestine as a country or as a state. So that is why United States withdrew from 2000. The process began from 2011 by cutting funds and everything. After that, it was an official announcement from the Trump administration that USA has withdrawn. Now it is again rejoining. Alright, so that is why these kind of questions could come in your examination, and that is why I ask you this. From east to west, what is the correct order of the Alpide Belt ranges? Alpide Belt is a highly seismic belt, and that is why questions could arise from here. There are many mountains which are a part of the Alpide Belt. Okay, so that is why you must know which range is a part of what belt. Earthquake has occurred in Kashmir. 4 people have been injured, and this is because of the Alpide Belt only. Now, if we talk about the Alpide Belt, then we must keep in mind the range. This is the Alpide Belt, the grey one. Okay, and it is highly seismic in nature. There are many ranges that belong to this belt, including the Atlas in the Northwest Africa, Alps in Europe, Caucasus in Middle East, and Hindu Kush. So if we go from east to west, as the question has asked us, from Hindu Kush, first Hindu Kush, then Caucasus will be there, then Alps will be there, and then Atlas will be there. So these are the kind of questions that could reflect in your paper. So first we will have Hindu Kush, then we have Caucasus, then we will have Alps, and finally Atlas. That is option D. Alright, so I hope you understood this question well. Moving ahead to the next portion, consider the following statements with respect to Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. It has been in the news since the past couple of days because of irregularities in Jharkhand. It is a centrally sponsored scheme. It was launched in 2016. Implementation is decentralized. The key word here is decentralized, because sometimes UPSC can also ask you, implementation is centralized in nature. Implementation is decentralized through state irrigation plan and district irrigation plan. So what do we have to see? We have to see how many statements given above is or are not correct. So keyword here is not correct. First statement is actually correct because it is a central sponsored scheme. What is a central sponsored scheme? That the funding is divided between the state and the union government. Central sector scheme is that 100% funding will be done from the union government only. It was launched in the year 2015 and not 16. And yes, its implementation is decentralized. Why decentralized? By common sense, we can understand that every agricultural sector in different states is different. So implementation has to be different. That means a central uniformity should not be there for every place. That is why it is decentralized in nature through state irrigation plans and district irrigation plans. So only as we had to select that which one is incorrect, first is correct, third is correct. So what did we have to select? Not correct. Only one statement will be not correct, the second one. Okay, so let's talk about the basic information related to this question. Irregularities in micro irrigation scheme center seeks report from Jharkhand, and that is why this is important. Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana is a central sponsored scheme which was launched in 2015. The fund will be divided into 75 is to 25 for center and the state, and for hilly regions it is 90 for center and 10 for hilly region, because these are less developed than other plain states. Moving ahead to the other important facets, its objectives are the convergence of investment in irrigation at the field level, to expand the cultivable area under assured irrigation. That means we have to expand the areas which are getting irrigation, that is har khet ko pani, and to improve on-farm water use efficiency so that water doesn't get, we can say, wasted. Because what happens, farmers generally, if they are not aware enough, they will spread water all across the field, but we have to ensure that these are going to the crops and not across those areas which do not have crop. To enhance the adoption of precision irrigation, that means more crop per drop. The dripping facilities are there in such a manner that they are dripping on the crops only, not getting wasted. The water is not getting wasted. Also recharging aquifers. Aquifers are permeable rocks which can let the water soak down to the groundwater and hence replenish the groundwater. If there will be more groundwater, then irrigation facilities will also work better. Introduce sustainable water conservation practices. In order to do that, how to use the municipal wastewater, that is also important, a part of this particular, we can say, scheme, because UPSC can ask us about the objectives as well. So do read very properly the objectives. Attract greater private investment in precision irrigation system. All this is a part of the scheme. Other than that, UPSC can also ask you which three schemes have been amalgamated under the scheme. It is formulated by amalgamating ongoing schemes. These are still ongoing, and these all are a part of the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Accelerated Irrigation Benefit Program, Ministry of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation first. Then Integrated Watershed Management Program, which is under the Department of Land Resources, Ministry of Rural Development, and On-Farm Water Management, which is under the Department of Agriculture and Cooperation. So this could be asked in your examination. That is why we have to be ready. Implementation, that means whatever scheme is there, how it is getting implemented, by what process. It is not uniform for all. That means it is decentralized. Okay, every state has their own plan and accordingly they implement this policy. Alright, which of the following states is among the top 3 cotton producing states of India? Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Rajasthan. So I hope if you know the correct and current data, Telangana will be the correct answer. Let's know about the other two. So other two include Gujarat and one more state, that is Maharashtra. Punjab's area under cotton cultivation is decreasing since 2015 and that is a cause of concern. Gujarat, Maharashtra and Telangana are the major cotton producing states of India, 3 major. They produce together about 65% of the cotton production. Others also include Rajasthan, Karnataka, as you can see, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, etc. This you can find in PIB. Okay. During current cotton season 2022-23, exports of cotton is expected to be 40 lakh bales. And the top 2 cotton producers of the world are India and China. They approximately produce 45 to 50% of the world's total cotton production. These two including, that means as a group, India and China. Currently, India is the world's leading producer of cotton, which surpassed China recently. Alright, so this is an important information. You have to keep this in mind. Moving ahead to the next part. Next part says, consider the following statements. Women leadership at grassroots, bridging the gender digital divide. Women and girls as change makers in climate resilient action. How many of the above mentioned statements is or are an objective under India's presidency in Women 20 of 2023? This group works under G20 only. So if we talk about the objectives, as I told you, all the 3 ones are actually correct. Digital divide is important to be filled and it should not be gender based. Women leadership at grassroots, why? Because people want to relate to women. They should not think them as a weaker sex. And women and girls are change maker even in climate resilient action. That is why all 3 are objectives. So all three, option C will be the correct answer. Now let's see. World 20 Summit is to begin today because this is a news from evening, noon. Yesterday's noon. And that is why it is important for us to know this. So from today, the World 20 Summit is getting or commencing at Mahabalipuram, and Prime Minister Modi will virtually address it. Okay, and that is why this question is important. Now let's talk about W20. It is an official engagement group under the G20, which was established in 2015 under the presidency of Turkey. The primary objective is to understand that whatever talks are there in W20, these are actually getting translated in policy. Not only talks, but policy is also getting implemented. Other than this, India took the presidency of G20 from Indonesia last year, and it will remain to preside over many important meetings, the group meetings as well. The main focus of India's presidency for W20 is women-led development. Whatever development we are doing, it should be women-led. This is the one of the major goals of our presidency. Then the 5 priority areas. Why have I asked you priority areas? Because UPSC can ask us priority areas as well. So women in entrepreneurship, more business women leadership at grassroots, bridging the gender digital divide, and education and skill development, women and girls as change makers in climate resilient action. Please do keep this in mind. Okay, moving on. Which of the following countries is hosting the World Blood Donor Day 2023? USA, South Africa, India, Algeria. The correct answer is Algeria. Algeria is hosting the World Blood Donor Day. Today is World Blood Donor Day to raise awareness about the importance of donating blood. Moving ahead, now if we talk about this day, it is celebrated annually, and to raise awareness about the importance of donating blood. The theme for this year, theme could also be asked, give blood, give plasma, share life, share often. Okay, remember that. Moving ahead, now if we talk about the other aspects, Algeria is hosting the current World Blood Donation Day through its National Blood Transfusion Service. And the day was established by the World Health Organization in 2004 to recognize the crucial role of blood donation in saving lives. And that is why it was important for us to know about this. Now, if you want to get the PDF of this particular class, you can contact me on my Telegram channel, that is Pooja Dwivedi StudyIQ UPSC. If you want to ask something related to UPSC, you can follow me on Instagram. I will definitely reply to you. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching.